It's the third week of October, which means Saturday is the third Saturday in October. It's Tennessee and Alabama coming up 3:30 on CBS. Tennessee comes in 5-0. First time the Vols have been 5-0 since 2016. Tennessee and Alabama both undefeated, playing each other for the first time since 1989. There's a buzz, there's an excitement, and a lot of confidence on campus.
Yep, feels different. There's no doubt about it. I mean, this is a game where it's not the laydown that it's been for the last decade, and I think that's what's got every Tennessee fan excited right now.
And legitimately so. I mean, we've talked about it on podcasts and just amongst ourselves. I don't remember the last time where we got to this week and we were doing anything other than just going through the motions. Just, doing the stories we do on Monday, the stories we do on Tuesday, but with no real thought that, what's Tennessee got to do to beat Alabama? What has to happen? It is simply not that way this week. This is a big game, and Tennessee's got a chance to win it.
Yeah, I mean, the proof's in the pudding. You can kind of figure out how Tennessee can win this football game, and obviously a lot of that is because you have a good quarterback, you have a good offense, number one scoring offense in the SEC. Of course, on the other side, the injury concerns for Alabama quarterback, that can certainly help Tennessee's chances depending on what happens there. But there are ways Tennessee can win this football game, and Rob, like you said, that's not been the case the last 6-7 years where you're just going through the motions. So will Tennessee win this game? I don't know. We'll see. But Tennessee can win this game. That's the biggest difference.
Yeah, 100%. And everybody's going to start with Hendon Hooker. We all know how important he is. But if Tennessee's able to run the ball somewhat effectively, like they did at LSU, that makes Hendon Hooker's job that much more, gettable. Against an Alabama defense that is long, it's athletic, it has Will Anderson, and most defenses don't have Will Anderson. But, Tennessee's ability to run the ball with Jabari Small, 263 yards a week ago, Brent, big reason why they had so much success at LSU.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest surprise of the win is how effective Tennessee was running the football. Can they do that against Will Anderson and Alabama? I think that's a tall task. But when they do, Rob, you spoke about it, that's what gets this offense going. No offense to the passing game. It is the run game that gets this thing going.
And this is maybe an outlandish statement, and I don't know if you can prove it, but I think if Tennessee averages 5.5 yards a carry like they did against LSU, I don't know that anybody can beat them because that's when the tempo kicks in. That's when, Hendon Hooker's in 3rd and 4. What are they going to do? His legs come into play. Your defenses can't sit back and try to keep things in front of them. It just makes everything flow when they can run the football. And in 2 SEC games, they're averaging right at 230 yards a game on the ground.
Yeah, and you're winning first down in those situations. You might not go first down on first down, but you're not going, 2nd 8. You're not going 2nd and 9, 2nd and 11, much like against Pittsburgh when you tried to run the football. And Jabari Small is such a big part of that. So, if you're getting the 2nd and 5s and the 3rd and 2s, and it opens up the playbook so much more to where you can start utilizing some of those unique little shovel passes or Hendon Hooker's ability. But it all stems off the run game. Josh Heupel said many, many times what they want to do and what they want to accomplish, it stems from the run game. And Jabari Small has been fantastic the last 2 games against Florida and, of course, LSU.
The offensive line has been pretty good, too.
Yeah.
They were really good against LSU to the point that they didn't need Hendon Hooker to bail them out with a bunch of run plays. They did not have to run him just relentlessly. If Tennessee's going to win this game, this can't be a game where Hendon Hooker runs the ball 20 times, 22 times. If that happens, Tennessee's going to have a harder time.
Yeah, they had 1 or 2 design runs at LSU. Most of Hendon's rushing yards was just scrambling when
they only had 10 total carries is all he was credited for, and all of those, as you mentioned, were not design runs.
You look at the offense as a whole, it seems to be really clicking. Even without Cedric Tillman, his status we're not going to know about until Friday or Saturday. I think it's still 50-50 at best that the number 4 plays in this football game. But you've won the last 2 games in the SEC against solid competition without him.
Well, it's because you've got other weapons. And Brew McCoy's a good player. Jalen Hyatt, again, I think is the best story, or arguably the best story on this team, Rob.
Yeah, Cedric Tillman goes out, your most productive offensive player other than Hooker, and boom, Jalen Hyatt, 2 touchdowns this week. Brew McCoy, back-to-back 100-yard games, and Tennessee has scored 78 points against SEC competition with Tillman on the shelf.
And not only that, too, you saw more of this against Florida, of course, but Princeton Fant stepped up. Jacob Warren stepped up. You had the running backs, Jabari Small. He's running a touchdown there, but he had a receiving touchdown against Florida. Ramel Keaton has been playing 80 and 79 snaps the last 2 games. So this offense, it's humming. You want 4 in there, but it's not going to miss a beat in terms of what it's trying to do in an attacking mode.
Defensively, defensive line just continues to amaze me. I would have lost. I'm not saying I thought they were going to be bad, okay, but interior part of the defensive line I thought was going to be so suspect. And a lot of it's just the unknown. Like, right, I mean, Bryson Easton hadn't played a whole lot of football, especially inside. DJ Terry still hadn't played a ton of football. You look at the guys that are sliding inside, the play they're getting out of this group, Dominic Bailey continues to make plays and be a factor for this team. It's just really impressive what Rodney Garner continues to develop.
Well, that's what he does. I mean, that's Rodney's MO. It's what he's done for 30 years, and he's now got him a rotation of 12 guys, and he's committed to playing those 12 guys. And by doing that, Rob, at Pittsburgh, sets them up in a better place with their defensive line for this game.
Yeah, I didn't think that they would be just like Austin. I mean, I didn't think they would be terrible, but if you just look, it's a small sample size. 2 SEC games, LSU and Florida, 2 pretty decent running teams. Tennessee's 3rd in the league, right behind Alabama and Georgia in what they've given up, less than 100 yards a game. And they just dominated at LSU.
You know, we're talking that interior defensive line, but those Leos have been pretty good. Of course, LSU's offensive line was a bit banged up. The challenge will be greater this week against Alabama, but Byron Young, I think Roman Harrison played a good game, and of course Joshua Josephs adding a lot to what that defensive line is doing as a unit the last couple of games.
No matter who the quarterback is the biggest challenge this week whoever's responsibility is Jahmyr Gibbs. Is as simple as that.
Well,
no matter whether Bryce Young can go or not.
Yeah, the reality is that the responsibility lies on all 11 guys. I mean, they've got to tackle well. That's my key thing I've talked about. If Tennessee's going to win this game, they have to tackle extremely well at all 3 levels of the defense. They cannot let a missed tackle at the defensive line level turn into a 70-yard touchdown. They have got to get Jahmyr Gibbs on the ground. I think tackling's the biggest statement.
And I mean, would you not agree? He's the most dangerous offensive guy that they've seen. Like the guy that can, if you miss the tackle that could have been a 5-yard gain in the flat, boom, it's a 60-yard gain. And Tennessee's secondary's not been terrible, but they had some struggles at LSU in getting guys on the ground.
Yeah, stretching the field, linebackers going to have to be key in this one. Because Jahmyr Gibbs is going to line up in the backfield in the slot. He'll line up out wide, and of course that'll change as you kind of move down the line. So putting a lot of stress on the middle layer. Also, to go along with missed tackles, you can't have self-inflicting wounds like over 100 yards and penalties. That type of noise, that type of self-inflictions will cause you to lose in a game like Alabama or Georgia.
Let's go off the notion that Bryce Young does play Saturday. Both teams you expect to be able to score, which means the defense may not be the reason you win or lose. The offense will be. I think special teams could be a huge factor in this one. It was Saturday, right out of the gate. You have the kickoff. It's muffed. You go 4 or 5 on field goals. You have a couple of punts that are solid. One down inside the 5-yard line, and then of course D. Williams goes 58 yards on the punt return.
Yep, a lot of good things there. I still want to see Tennessee punt the ball faster than what they've done it. I thought Paxton Brooks was again slow. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a really good return guy for Alabama. That's the most dangerous guy that they will play. They need to place the ball in the punt game really well. So I think that this is a different challenge in special teams. LSU's been a train wreck on special teams all year, Rob. This is a different challenge for Tennessee in special teams. But you better not lose the kicking game if you're going to pull this upset off.
No, I don't think they can lose the kicking game. I wouldn't go so far as to say they have to make a play in the kicking game like they made 2 last week at LSU. But man, you better not shoot yourself in the foot by letting McKinstry get loose, having a block punt like we saw at Pitt or the muff. I mean, I think you have to be very sound. And since the opening week, with the exception of the onside kick against Florida, they have been.
Yeah, they've been pretty sharp on special teams. The kicking coverage units have been pretty good all year long. Typically, you want to win 2 of the 3 phases to win a football game like this. But even if you don't win 2 of the 3, if you can just play complementary football on defense, I say it all the time, you might give up some points, but create some turnovers, get more opportunities to your offense to have the football in its hands. I think that'll be key in a game like this.
I ask this every week, especially in the big games. Take away Hendon Hooker. Who's the key guy for Tennessee?
Byron Young. I think you got to create some havoc back there when you have the opportunity to get off the field. Find a way to get to the quarterback. I'm going to go Byron Young.
All right, if you're taking Hendon off the table, AP, I got to go Brim McCoy and or Jalen Hyatt. I think Tennessee's got to make big splash plays on offense. Alabama's given up 250 yards a game, period. Not on the ground, not through the air, 250 yards total offense. So as good as Tennessee is on offense, I don't know how many of those 8, 9, 10 play drives you're going to see against Alabama. I think the wideouts have to punch some holes in the defense.
Yeah, and open things up for that. I mean, you got to have a run game, right? I mean, Tennessee wants to run the football. Jabari Smalls look like a different animal behind that offensive line. You hope that they can run it better than what they ran against Alabama and Georgia a season ago. I'll take Jabari Small.
And I'm going to take the cop-out answer and not go with a player, and I'm going to say Josh Heupel, because what he's done and the kind of the belief system that he's instilled tells me this team believes they can go in to Saturday's game against Alabama and get a win. And I don't think in their mind it will be an upset. I think they believe that they can win this football game. They will go in there and continue to do what they've done the last few weeks. So I think he is the key.
He's the least of my concerns in this game. That's the least. That's the one guy in this program I don't have any thoughts about. He will be ready to go, and he will cut it loose, and he will play aggressively and call an aggressive football game.
Been a long time since you've said that about the Tennessee head coach in this game.
But I'm telling you, that's the way he will coach this game on Saturday. I don't have any doubt that he will have his team ready to play. They got to go out and execute, but they will not play timid, and they will not play with any hesitancy on Saturday.
For the guys, I'm Austin Price. Tennessee and Alabama coming up 3:30 on CBS on Saturday.